Hello all, I hope everyone is well. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with a very interesting SQL question. This question has been taken from Leetcode, and this is a Leetcode hard level problem, and this is somewhat tricky, so I thought of sharing with you. So let's see what the problem says, then we will jump into the solution. So in today's problem, we have been given three tables. So basically it's a table, it's something like driver information or rides information, you can say. So there are three tables. One is driver, another is ride, and another is accepted ride. So let's see what each and every table what is each and every table is saying. So in driver table, we have two columns. Is basically driver ID and join date. So you can say like you can think like it is an Uber company or something, and like if someone is getting registered with Uber, so they will get a driver ID and as well as when they are joining. So these two information is getting captured in the driver table. In the rides table, we have ride ID, user ID, and requested it. So it's basically when a user is requesting a ride, so that user will get a ride ID as well as when they are requesting it, like at which on which date they are requesting it. And another table is accepted rides. It is basically like either when the like which driver is accepting the ride, so the ride ID will be there, driver ID will be there, and the ride distance and ride durations. Ride distance is like 63 miles or 63 kilometers, and ride duration is how much time is taking to complete that distance. Okay, so these are the three tables that we have been given, and we need to generate something like this. So what is that? So you can think we need to generate something like active drivers, active rides, accepted rides, and walking percentage. So what do you mean by active drivers? So in the month of January. So if you can think, and we are only will be doing this exercise for the year of 2020, not the year of 2021. Okay, so we will be doing the exercise only for 2020, nothing else. Now, think about that. So if you see it from January to December, this denotes for 2020. Okay, nothing else. So in the month of January 2020, month 1, active riders 2. How can you say that riders is 2 on that particular month? Is basically, if you think, if you look at the driver table, driver ID 10 joined on 10th of December, driver ID 8 joined on 13th of January, right? So if you can say that in January month, these two drivers were active because he joined on 2019, this guy joined on 2020 January, so the active driver count is 2. But they didn't accept anything. How can you say that? Because if you look at that in the requested table, right? If you see 10 and 8, right? So 10 is there, 8 is there. And 10 actually had a ride ID 1013 and 8 had 7, 11, 15, 12, right? So if you can see in 10 and 13, right? In 10 and 13, the ride ID, right? 10, it has been requested on 3rd of, 4th of March, right? So there is no accepted ride in the month of January for the ride ID 10. So if you can look at 13, right? For 13 also, this has been requested on 22nd of June. So there is nothing on January, right? And if you can see for 8, right? For 7, right? 8 ride ID is 7 for driver ID 8. For 7, if you see here, 7 is also for in the month of what is that? May, June, July, right? So in the month of July. So it is still not in January. And this 11, 15, and 12, if you say 11, 15, 12, is basically in the year of 2021, so we can discard that, right? So basically, there is no accepted right in the month of January. Okay, so in that way, you need to read it. And what is the working percentage? Is 0 by 2 is basically 0%. Okay, so it is something like this divided by this, right? This is something we need to generate. So if you look at the December, right? So there is only no, let's say for March, right? For March, there were four active uh, drivers. How can you say? In the month of March, if you see 10 was active, 8 was active, 5 was active, 7 was active. So there were four drivers who were active on in the month of March, and accepted ID is 1. How? If you say 10, 8, 5 and 7, right? 10 is 13, right? And 13 and 10. So if you see 13 and 10, this is for 10, you have seen that you're seeing that this is like requested on 4th of March. So basically there is one accepted, right, in the month of March. But if you look at 13, 13 is in 22nd of June, right? So this will not be counted. And if you see 857 is 8 is 7, 7 is basically in the month of July, right? And 8 and then 5 and 7, right? So 5 is basically is not there. For 7 it is 17. So if you can see 17 is in the month of August, so it will not be counted, right? So, and for 7 it is 5, so 5 is not there, right? Right, 85 is actually there, right? So it is in the month of December, so it will not be counted, right? So nothing else match. So there is only one accepted, right? So it's basically you need to check the ride ID and compare it against the ride table and see like what time it has been requested. If it is requested on that month, so there will be a accepted, right? Otherwise not. So I think this problem is clear. Okay, so I have tried to explain it in a very simple way. Okay, so let's jump into the solution. Let's see like how we can solve it. So we have these three tables basically, right? We have these three tables, right? Now, what we are gonna do, okay, in the very first step. So the very first step, what I can think of is, in the very first step, what I'm thinking of is, let's declare a date. Basically, we will have to, you know, do this exercise for the entire 2020, right? So let's try to declare a date. So the date would be like, I'm just declaring one date, declare ampersand of date equals to, I'm declaring a date, and which is nothing but, let's say, very first date of 2020, okay? Hyphen 01 hyphen 01, okay? So I've declared a date. So when you declared a date, when you basically declared a date, what you need to generate, you need to create a recursive city for all the 12 months, right? For all the 12 months to get that month information, right? So for that, what I'm going to do is, so I'm writing a recursive city with recursive city as, and what is that? I have created this date, right? So take the date. But the thing is, create the I'll create the dates, but the date would be the end of the month, not the first starting of the month. Why I'm doing the end of the month, I'll come to that point. So for to create the end of the month, so we can do EO month, end of month, right? EO month, and I'll pass this information, right? I'll pass this date, and I'll be giving as DT. So I'm just giving a name, and then union all, and we will create and we'll add it. Basically, we'll add 1 month, right? We'll add 1 month. So for that, so basically we'll add 1 month to this date, right? So how we can do that is basically like date add. We are going to add month, 1 month, and we'll pass this information DT and as DT from recursive city, right? But the thing is, if you add to this date, right? If you add 1 month to this date, it will give you the next month starting date. But we need the end of the month, right? So we need to change it to year month, end of month, right? Correct? I think this makes clear. And we'll have to give a where condition, like where to terminate it, right? So where dt, basically where dt less than, okay, where dt less than, you can just select the last date of the year. So I can say cast, you can pass 2020, 12, and 31 as date. Okay, so I'm passing the last date of the month. Okay, and I'm just writing select star from recursive city. Okay, so if I run this, so if I, sorry, it's another. So if I run this, right, so we'll get all the dates. End of the month for each and every, month, we are getting the date for end of the month, right? So the date would be like end of the month date, right? So starting from 131, you can see till 1231. So we got all the months, but in the form of date, right? I think till that point it is clear. Now, now what are we going to do here? So if you say we have a driver's table, now concentrate on the driver's table. So what we have? We have driver ID and join date. Now think about it. What we got here? Let me run this together to help you understand better. So if I run this together, we get these two, right? Now think, if I somehow try to join the driver's table with these values, right, what we got, we will have to generate how many drivers were active, right? For that, what I'm going to do is, I'm just trying to join as a, okay, inner join, drivers as B. There will be a condition. What condition? On B dot join date, right? B dot join date less than equals to A dot date. What does it mean? Basically, so if you look at very carefully, B dot join date, let's talk about this 9, 12, 10, right? So this 12, 10 less than equals to A dot dt. So this value will be joined with all the values, right? So that means this driver is active in all the months, right? But if you look at very carefully, let's say 216. So 216 is basically less than equal to A dot dt. So it is actually starts from, you know, this value, right? Correct? So, so at end of the month, so 216 basically will get joined with all the values. So this guy, this driver ID 5 will be active on all the dates except the first date because I have taken the last date of the month. So we'll have to see how many drivers were there, right? Till that last date. Okay. So if I try to join, let's say A dot star, comma B dot star. Let's see what I'm getting, right? You get that, right? Now, if you think very carefully, in the first of, you know, in the month of January, there were two divers who were active. Because why? Because this guy, 8, right? He joined on 13th of January. So he will be active, right? By the end of this month. If you look at 2/9, right? Okay, if you say 0 to 29, so end of February. So 10 will be active because he joined on 2019 12. 8 will be active, he joined on 2020 01 13. 5 will also be active because he joined on 16, right? So this guy will be active in the month of February. So we somehow got that result, right? Okay, so I think till that point it is clear. Okay, so we will try to break it down. Okay, then we will try to solve it. Okay, so now we got this. Now, the next step, we have another two tables, right? We have these two tables, right? If you see. So we have the ride information and we also have the accepted ride information. Now, we are going to generate another query and we will then join that query with this query. So we are just trying to break the problem. So what I'm going to do is, let's say, what I'm going to do is basically, let's say select star from accepted rides. So we have accepted rides as A. So we have accepted, this is accepted rights, and we have the rights table. So I'm just joining this two table. Why I'm joining it, you will get to know. Inner join with the rights table, right? Rights table as B on A dot ride ID equals to B dot ride ID. And I told you, right? So we are doing the exercise for only for the in the month of sorry for the in the year for the year of 2020, right? So we will have to pass another argument year of b dot, like in the rights table we have a requested at, so we don't need 2021, right? So b dot requested at equals to 2020. Okay, we got that, right? So we need some information. So we will select, let's say from the B table, we are selecting B dot write at. We are selecting B dot requested at, and we are selecting A dot driver ID. Okay. So now if I run this, what will get? Let's see. So we have the ride ID information. So we are trying to join these two tables on the basis of the ride ID, and we are taking b dot ride ID. So we are taking this ride ID, rides table ride ID. We are taking requested at, and we are taking a dot driver ID. So we are taking driver ID because driver ID is needed because to join with this table, right? So the driver ID is needed. So if I try to join this, and if we try to see, we get this information, right? Only for 2020. So we get the ride ID, we get the driver ID. And we need we need month of, we need the month. We just don't need the date. So we need the month of b dot b dot requested at as requested month. Okay, so if I run this, we get the requested month. Okay, so if I run this together now, you'll get to know. So we have this. So let me maximize this. So we have the date with driver information when they joined, and we have the ride ID, we have the driver ID, we have the requested month, right? Now the next step is very crucial step. So what we are going to do is we will join this thing with that this inner subquery, this subquery. So that what I'm going to do is, let me write the code. Left join with this code with this subquery, and I'm passing as C. Now as C, and what is the condition? What is the condition? If you look at very carefully, we had this three information, right? This DT driver ID and joined it. Now let me take another thing here, is basically month of. Okay, let me take month of a dot dt, because we don't need the date, we need the month, right? Because we are only dealing with the month. If you see, you are dealing with the month. So a dot dt, as let's say I'm giving a name as month. So if you see, if let me run this till this point, so you'll get to know what I'm trying to see. So I'm just creating a dt, right? This is a dt that we got it from the recursivity, the driver id and month. So in the month of January, these two drivers were active. In the month of February, these three drivers were active. In the month of March, these four drivers were active. Okay, so we have got the month information, right? Now I'm left joining with the inner subquery on let's say in the B table we have in the B table we have the you know we have the driver ID, and in the C table we also have the driver ID. So on the basis of driver ID I'm joining. Okay, so if you remember what we got it from here, we got it ride ID, driver ID, requested month. So in the driver ID, on the basis of the driver ID I'm matching, and I'll also have to match the requested month. So the requested month is basically, so the requested month um, is basically uh, so take the month, because this month dot a dot dt, right? So I'll join month a dot dt with c dot requested month, right? So we'll c dot requested month, right? Now if I take the c dot requested month here, okay, so we will take c, I mean we are going to take c dot requested month, right? So if I run this, right, if I run this, we get that. And we actually need c.driver ID here. c.driver ID. Now let me run this. So then I'll explain what is happening. So if I run this together, now what is happening? Very interesting step, right? So there's a lot going on. So now what I've done is I had this inner subquery, right? If you remember, I have requested a driver ID. So this driver and this write had been accepted in the month of 3, in the month of 6. So I'm joining with the driver ID and month of a.dt equals to c.requested month, right? And I'm making a left join. So till this point, if you see, let me just remove this for now. Let me just take this. I'll explain what is happening. So let's take few example, right? So let's take few example, or else all the example maybe, right? Let me tell you what is happening. Now we got this information, right? So we got this information, right? So this is the ride ID and this is the, if you see, driver ID. So this is driver ID and this is the requested month, and this is the ride ID, right? Correct? And here, this is the DT on which month how many people were active, and this is the driver ID. And this is join date, and this is the month, right? So what we have done, we took this table in the left side and this table in the right side. Now what we are saying, if you look at very carefully, driver ID 10, we are joining with this 10 equals 10 to 10 and month to this month. So if you look at very carefully, for in the month of 11, driver ID 17. So in the month of 11, right? Driver ID one, this one, and this one. I'm just making it a bold to make you understand. So these two actually requested a ride, right? So this driver ID took the ride, right, in the month of 11. So these are matching, these two. So in the month of in the month of November, there were two actually rides, those that had been accepted by the riders, by the drivers, 1 and 7. So if you see, in the month of November, there were two accepted rides, correct? Similarly, in the month of March, there was only one accepted ride. If you see, in the month of March, right? This is March, so the driver ID 10. So in the month of March, if you see, in the month of March, there is only one. So this 10 is matching with this 10 and 3 with 3, right? So if you see, so there is only one accepted, right? Because this will be having a value, correct? So now if I go to the code, right? If I go to the code, if I try to run this, right? So you can expect, let me take the driver ID. So you'll get to know c.driver ID. So you can see in the month of March, right? I told you, so there was a driver who accepted the ride. Similarly, in the month of November, there were two rides which had been accepted, right, by 1 and 7 driver. So we got that result, right? So we got that result. So we are very close to that. Now the next step would be to create this table, right? So we already have how we are going to do it, right? So we already have um, so how we are going to do it is basically, let's take the name of the date. So I'm just removing this because we don't need that. So in the month of this, right, we got the month. Now we need some sort of name, right? This name, month name. So how can I do that? It's basically date name. There's a function called date name. And in the bracket, we will pass a.dt, uh, month, comma a.dt, month, comma a.dt as, let's say, month name, as month name, comma, we got month. we got month, and what next? What do we need? So if you say count of driver ID by date name this and this, count of driver ID will give you the accept active drivers. So what I'm gonna do writing here is count of this driver is coming from the B table, right? So you can give count of B dot uh, driver ID is basically as what is that? Active drivers, right? Active drivers, right? Active drivers. Okay, this is active drivers. The next is, if you see now, if I take the count, so we got date name. Basically, we are doing the basis on this, right? So this will be January, this will be February, right? If I do it like this, so in the month of January, count of this driver ID, right? Count of this driver ID is basically 2, and so that is the active drivers. Now, if I take the count of this zero driver ID, basically null, so it will give you 0. But if you see, in the month of March, it will give you 1 because you know, right, how the count of these things works is basically count of, if I take the count of this, is basically null will not be counted, so it will basically give you 1. Correct? So that is nothing but as accepted rights. Accepted rights. Correct? So now we got that. Now the next step would be to do a group by. The group by based on what? This two, right? This one and this one, right? So why I'm doing this? Because if you do date name of this value, for these two records, the value will be January. These three records, the value will be February. So I'm doing a group by on these two. So basically January and 1, there will be 0, accepted rights, and the count will be 2 for the active drivers. So in the month of March, so this is March, right? And there in the month of March, the month is 3. So there are 4, active drivers, and there is only 1 accepted rights. Let's see what is coming. So if I run this, right? If I run this, we get this. Correct? So in the month of January, month 1, active drivers 2, that is 0. See, that is something we are actually trying to generate. In the month of November, if you see in the month of November, active driver is 6, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 6, 6, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. There are 5 records with the value 5, right? If you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 6, 6. And if you see 0, 0, 1 active drivers, right? So we are nearly there. So only thing is working percentage. That is very easy. Now what you need to do is you just need to divide this, right? How are we gonna divide it? So take this, right? Divided by this, right? Now give into 1.00 just to get the fraction part, right? So if I run this, you get this. Now what you're gonna do is do, you know, multiply with 100 to make this as a percentage, right? Correct? And cast it. Like I just need to get it for 2 decimal places, right? As decimal 10, comma 2 as working percentage. Correct? So now if I run this, basically we get the working percentage, right? So this is January, February, March, April till December. We get the active drivers, we get the accepted rides, and we get the working percentage, right? So this is something that we need. Okay, I hope the solution is clear. I know that the solution is a bit lengthy to understand, but I have tried to make it easier. I have tried in a very simpler way for you. So I have explained it in a very simpler way. So I actually request everyone to try it basically from your side. I'll give the data to the description box for you to try. So you can try your own solution, post it in the comment section, and let me know like how difficult it is or how easy it is, and let me also know like if I have explained it in a correct way or something. So I hope this is clear till now. Okay, so if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Please share it with your friends, and don't forget, to follow me on, you know, in Instagram as well as in LinkedIn and YouTube. Okay, then till then, thank you. Bye.